All right, 97.7 Outlaw Radio FM listeners, you already know what time it is, and right here, right now, we actually have independent hip-hop artist, man. This guy is a veteran, and his roots run deep. You already know what to do, guys. Right here, right now, we got CJ Watson live on the line. How are you doing this evening?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. Just trying to stay positive down here in Canada. I was reading as well, man, that the United States is actually starting to open back up, man. So congratulations on that, man. It must feel good to get back to relatively normal life.
Yeah, it's something. It's something. I'll put it like that.
Hey, but you know what, man? I want to bring you back to the beginning, man. Back when things are probably much easier for everybody that is listening, man. But I have to ask, man, like, at the beginning of your career, like, what actually made you decide to get into the music industry initially?
Oh man, like I tell anybody, man, I always started out as a poet. Just writing. Uh, writing music, writing poems to girls and things like that. I really didn't get. I really didn't get into the music industry like seriously until like 2015. When I started learning the game and learning how things really work in the music industry. Uh, but I don't. I still consider myself in the music industry, and I guess I am. But it was never. I guess it was never really my goal. I just like making music, so that's what it is.
And also, as well, I actually read that early on in your career, you were actually one half of the hip hop duo The Invaders, man. I was wondering if you can tell our listeners a bit more about this tremendous duo, and of course, how did yourself and Young initially get connected?
Yeah, the Invaders, man. We actually we did two projects together that got some local success, some local buzz. Shout out to Young. That's still my brother to this day. We got connected in college, actually. We both graduated high school the same year. We met in college freshman year, like first within the first couple of days, and me and him just hit it off, and we we had a love for hip hop. We had a love for the music, and he actually, we had a falling out. We had a disagreement, and so we went our separate ways. But over time, we reconciled, and that's my brother. But he doesn't do the music anymore. But it was something that laid the foundation for where I am today. A lot of connect that from that time are still helping myself today. Like I said, we had a lot of local success. It wasn't nothing major, but we had a lot of local success.
And I have to ask, man, do you ever think that Young actually might actually venture back into the music industry? Like, and if so, do you think you guys might actually do a reunion?
Uh, I hope that he would get back into the music. I really do, because he's a hell of a performer. He brings a lot of energy to the stage. He brings a lot of energy to even on the track. He brings a lot of energy. Um, and I don't know if he would do like a reunion thing, but that would be cool. Uh, but we have. As we've grown up and become more men that grown up, we kind of separated ourselves into doing different things. So I wouldn't say that necessarily like a reunion album or something like that, or EP or LP. But we would. I would definitely love to work with him again and get some tracks like that easily. Definitely, that's still my brother, like I said before. So it's just picking up the pen again, working again, and going in.
And also as well, man, before individuals knew you as CJ Watson, man, you originally went by the name Big Caesar. I was wondering what actually made you decide to change your name and reinvent yourself into CJ Watson.
Big Season was somebody. Okay, let me back up. Let me take the long way around in that answer. C.J. Watson is me. You know what I mean? That's me. That's my name. And so I felt that it would be right to be personal to me. Everything I do from that point on was me, and just put me into every song that I do, every track that I do, every album, every EP, every feature, every interview, everything I do is me. Big Caesar was a character. If that makes sense. That was C.J. Watson is Clark Kent. That's who I am, and Big Caesar was more of a Superman. He was a facade. He was something that wasn't me. He was somebody that liked to talk about things that necessarily weren't the most positive things, and I didn't like that in myself. And I was trying to fulfill a persona that wasn't me. And I looked myself in the mirror and I said, what the hell am I doing? Trying to be something that I'm not. So that's when I killed the Big Caesar. I should say I killed the Big Caesar, and it just went to CJ Watson, who was me. And ever since then, when I decided to be me and not try to be fraudulent and not try to be what is expected normally, things have gone better.
And also as well, man, you were actually a freelance producer and an on-air personality. And I was always wondering, man, when I actually did the research for this interview, like what radio stations did you actually have the opportunity to be a personality for? And of course, like what actually made you decide to venture into the radio aspect of the music industry initially?
When I started working in radio, like I said, once again I was in college, and we had the privilege and I'm looking back on it, I don't think we really knew what we had at the time, but we had a radio station that was covering all of East Texas at that time. It still does now. It was KCR-FM. It's a 100,000 watt FM station out in East Texas. It's in Commerce, Texas. What got me into it was I always wanted to do. I always wanted to be in radio, whether it was sports, whether it was hip hop, whether it was entertainment, whatever. I always wanted to be in that realm, be in the entertainment industry. I have a bachelor's degree in radio, television, and journalism, mass communications. So that's something I've always wanted to do. So when I started at that station, they gave me, I started just working basically just in the finance department. Like I wasn't doing much of anything. And then with my degree and what I was working on, I eventually became a producer. I was working under somebody else. I became a producer. I became a freelance producer. I started working on other people's stations. I started doing a little bit of, I filled in on the weekends, doing the weather, doing the traffic and stuff like that. I started doing those things. But as time went on, I was really good at those things. As time went on, I started doing, little shows that we would do, in the community, on our community, doing reporting and things like that. And then I ended up having my own show. It was called Up Next, and I had my own show where I would play, basically underground artists, up and coming artists, um, that would play on the radio. That weren't mainstream yet. I would play artists like Eric Bellinger, Ty Dolla Sign. There's a lot of The Weeknd. I was playing those guys on my station before they became big. And so I was doing that and just talking with managers and doing interviews with them and things like that. It got me to know how the business runs and how things go with connections in the industry and things like that. And that was a fun time in my life, being able to produce content and to make content for a whole region of one of the biggest states in the U.S. and just having fun and just putting that over there for audience that was underserved, in my opinion, and also for artists that were underserved. Having if you're an artist and you don't get your music played, I mean, that's a big thing, and to have your music played over the air, have your music played on the station that's also online live, and doing those things like that, that's a big thing to an independent artist. And that's what I did. I did that for a number of years. And I wish I would have kept on doing it, but I decided to let that go. It was a fun time. It was a fun time.
And also, man, March 13th of 2020, you actually released my personal favorite record by you, the 18-song album titled Monica's Son. I was always wondering, man, what is the story behind that amazing album? And of course, where can our listeners actually stream or purchase it today?
Well, you can stream. I mean, you can stream it anywhere. You just type in my name, CJ Watson. It's available. Tidal, Spotify, Bandcamp, Deezer, Apple Music, whatever. It's everywhere. Monica's Son is. I actually forgot the date I dropped it. March 13th. I'm pretty sure I forgot the day I dropped it. But Monica is my mom. That's my mother. I love dearly, so that's my mom. Monica's Son is me. I'm Monica's son. It was kind of a tribute to my mom. I want to give her roses, while she's still here, and able to appreciate it. If you go through that album, you'll hear her. You'll hear her talking on different parts through that album. And so it was just something that I did because I wanted to have, I guess, something that says, hey, this is CJ Watson. I'm a lot of times growing up, everybody didn't always know my name. And so I'm running around doing stuff. Who was that little boy running around? That's Monica's son right there. Whatever. So that's what it was. It's nothing. It's nothing that's too in depth. It's just that simple. And you look at Monica's Son, and the next album I followed it up with Chris, which is my government name. It's Christopher, but I just called it Chris. So it's just kind of they just go in line with what kind of a continuation.
And I gotta say as well, man, the one song that really actually really got to me while listening to that album, man, is actually "Where's Daddy," man. That's such a powerful song, man. You know what I mean? It's like that right there can definitely help a lot of individuals really get through a lot of their dark times where they dealt with similar issues as well as a kid.
Most definitely. Shout out to my brother Jay Wedges for that one. "Where's Daddy" was actually an old song. I think we did that song back in 2017. Initially 2017, 2018, and it was a track that came from the heart. Unfortunately, like a lot of young men in my community, we grew up without fathers. subconsciously you still try to please as where it's that. And I looked at myself as that through this music and everything I do, it turned around to, how life goes to, with my own child. And I wasn't there because I'm working and doing music and things like that. Well, where's my daddy at? And I'm here, but I'm not here, And so it made me look at myself. And as I was writing it, I thought about it as, I thought about it as, dang, like, where am I at today?
And also as well, man.
That's
Oh, sorry about that. My apologies, man.
No, you're fine.
I was going to say as well, man, July 4th of 2021, you actually teamed up with Street the Villain to actually release the collaborative project titled Dedicated to Excellence. I was wondering, man, how did yourself and Street get connected? And of course, could you tell our listeners a bit more about this amazing brand new project?
So I mean, we went from Monica's Son to Dedicated to Excellence. In between there, I did drop an album called Chris, which is my newest album I dropped earlier this year. So through a lot of networking and things like that, I met Street Feeling through social media, and he was an artist that I got to meet, and I heard his music, and I just loved his music. He's an MC. Like, there's rappers, there's hip hop artists, but he's an MC, and he's a genius with the pen. And I heard his music, and I fell in love with his music. And he heard my music. I mean, he said he liked it. I don't know if he was gassing up or whatever, but he said he liked it. And then he did a track for me called Maintain, which still hasn't been released yet. And then I did a track for him to a song called what's the name of that song? What's the name of the song right now? Anyway, I did a song for him, and the song took off. It was doing numbers. It was doing great numbers. And so we said that we have something here. And so we said, well, let's do an EP. Let's see what we can do. And he hooked me up with the producer out in Sweden, Kizza G. Shout out to Kizza G out there in Sweden. Or he's in Switzerland. One or two, I can't remember. I'm sorry. But he hit me up with him, and we got beats, and we started working. I sent him like 8 beats. He was like, all right, I like 4 of these beats. So we took those 4 beats and we started working. We just started going to work. And he's out in New York, and we were just working. We were just sending music back and forth with one another, talking about ideas, talking about how we feel about this song, and what's the message? How do we want to convey this message? And how do we want to do this, and all these things, and we ended up coming up with Dedicated to Excellence. He came up with the idea for the project. He came up with the title for it, Dedicated to Excellence. The song that we did that blew up, that I forgot the name of, it was called Fast Life. I couldn't think of it right then. That was on his project that Grain Raw produced. That was the song. It ended up doing great numbers. Fast Life ended up doing great numbers, but we knew that we had something special, and we had something special together. And so we may do it, Dedicated to Excellence Part 2. We just work well together, and we keep working well together. So that's kind of how that came about.
And also, man, directly after this interview, right here live on the radio station airwaves, I'm actually going to be playing one of the songs from this monumental project titled The Testimony. And for individuals that haven't already listened to this album, what can they actually expect when they hear The Testimony, potentially for the first time this evening on Outlaw Radio FM?
The Testimony, that's a track that is very. If you love hip hop, you'll love The Testimony. That song that song was an idea from Street to Villain. He had the idea for it. He laid down the hook for it. That was I think that might have been the second song that we did for Dedicated to Excellence. And it's a dope track. It's just talking about going from rags to riches. It's talking about the song's testimony. You're talking about your story. You're talking about where you came from. And it's a phenomenal track in my opinion. It's one of my favorites on Dedicated to Excellence, which is crazy because it's only 8 songs on that EP, and so all those songs are great. But that particular song is one of my favorites, and that one is produced by Kids of G, and so shout out to him. But it's a great song. It's a dope song in my opinion. I really love it.
And also, I have to ask, man, what is next for CJ Watson, man? Is there anything we missed? Anything else you still want to talk about or promote while we still have you here live on the Canadian airwaves this evening?
Well, I would love to promote once again the Chris album, which is available everywhere. It's a double album. You got the reality side, you got the truth side of it. 24 tracks. Like I said, it's a double album. It's available everywhere. Also, the Dedicated to Excellence EP. We talked about, we touched on with myself and Street to Villain. That's out, available everywhere right now. You can always go to imcjwatson.com. All that stuff is out there. Everything is out there. You just type any social media site anywhere. I am CJ Watson. You just type in, you're gonna see my face. I just did a TikTok yesterday, so I'm trying to get that taken care of. I think I got 1 or 2 followers on my TikTok. But that's obviously I am CJ Watson. I'm gonna drop some content soon on that. Yeah, man. It's all about that I am CJ Watson brand. And, that logo and everything goes on. Everything I do is about that. So that's me.
And I gotta say, first and foremost, man, thank you so much for just giving us a little bit of your time this evening and coming on 97.7 FM, man. It definitely was an honor and most definitely a privilege, man. You already know we're gonna keep CJ Watson in high rotation here on Outlaw Radio FM.
Hey, man, I appreciate you guys having me, and thank you for the time. I appreciate it so much. Shout out to you, DJ Immortal and everything, and I appreciate you guys for having me. Really,
hey, man, you are most certainly welcome. When you drop your next project, man, make sure you stay in touch, and we can definitely get you back on here on Outlaw Radio, man, to help push some of your new work.
Most definitely, I will. That's the Road Star album. I don't know when it's dropping, but it's going to be in 2022. So that's the Road Star.
Hey, man, definitely sounds like a plan. I appreciate you, CJ. Definitely have yourself a wonderful night, man. And definitely enjoy the rest of your weekend. We definitely shall talk soon.
All right, you too, man.